what's up, guys? Today I want to talk to you about something that is not necessarily a character trait, but rather a platform that can reveal the character that is actually within us. That is the platform of social media. Nowadays, we have multiple different ways to connect socially on social media. There's Facebook and Instagram, there's Snapchats and now TikToks and all these different platforms in which we basically have the ability to follow and like and to post whatever it is that we want to. And so, though social media in itself is not a character trait, it very much so can reveal the character that we actually operate under. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. Johnny Manziel, otherwise known as Johnny Football, is a very well-known college football athlete. Years ago, he was a quarterback at Texas A&M and was very successful. He was dominant on the football field, and he also lived a little bit of a wild and charismatic and kind of suspect lifestyle off of the football field. And Johnny Manziel was very much into the club scene, very much into the casinos and the partying, alcohol, gambling, whatever it was that Johnny Manziel could be the life of the party, that's where he wanted to be. And though those things aren't necessarily illegal, he definitely was very open about the lifestyle in which he lived. And the negative impact that this all brought is that Johnny Manziel was an influencer. He was a role model potentially to kids growing up playing football. And with thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that followed him and watched him, everything that he said and did was under a microscope. It was scrutinized, and he put whatever it was out there for the entire world to see, with thousands and hundreds of thousands again of people watching him. And it was very common for Johnny Manziel to post pictures of him at clubs and drinking and gambling with wads of money, with no care whatsoever what he was portraying. And again, these things, because the character that was actually deeper inside Johnny Manziel, he didn't care, and it ended up getting him into a lot of trouble. He ended up going down some paths of life that affected his football career. It affected his character. It affected the way that he was publicly seen. It affected most likely the way that he was able to actually influence young kids as they were growing up into football. He used social media very negatively. There were some other athletes, and you can do a lot of research on them and find many stories like this, but even an Ohio State quarterback made a simple tweet, thought that I have the platform in which to say whatever I want to say, however I want to say it, used Twitter to basically negatively talk about how pointless it was to have to go to school and college all the time, and when they're solely there to play football and to be athletes. And so even though the tweet he thought he had the power to say, because he basically came against the university that he was attending, they suspended him for a game. And so seemingly just a statement that was said ended up costing him a whole game. On the other side of that, there was a Kentucky basketball player a couple years back who Kentucky didn't have the necessarily fiery start that they did in years past, and they had acquired a couple losses, and their fans assumed that they would win and dominate the way that they have in years past. And so a lot of their team and players came under fire and scrutiny on social media platforms like Twitter. And instead of coming back and attacking and blasting and tweeting back at these people, trying to defend themselves, this one freshman took a step back and said, you know what, so I don't say or do anything that could affect me down the road, so I don't say or do anything that could get me suspended or give a bad name on myself or my team, I'm going to delete those accounts altogether. And if there's nothing good that I can say or that I'm going to read, then why give any notice to it at all? I'm just going to get rid of it altogether, which was an incredibly wise decision on his behalf that I think a lot of us could learn from. And so once some time had passed and he could peacefully open those back up and respond to some of these tweets and these slams and slanders that came against him with calm, peaceful responses, he was able to do so. But he was very conscious and not wanting to set himself up for failure down the road. And so going back to you and I want us to think about the things that we post, the things that we like, the things that we say now, because even though we do it in the moment, it can drastically affect us down the road. Whether it is a college coach, whether it is a college admissions or presidents or the deans, reality is they will look back at these things in our lives. As a college and a professional athlete, I know very well that These teams and organizations very much so will look into your social media to see the things that you post, to see the things that you like and that you talk about, and even the things that you follow, because those things says a lot about us personally. When are you typically on social media? Typically, sometimes it'll be when you're with friends or when you're doing things, but a lot of the time it's when you're by yourself, when there's nothing else to do. We open up our phones and our iPads and different things, and we get on our social media accounts. And so in reality, what happens on our social media really says a lot about our private life. And who you are in private definitely gives off more of who your character truly is, even so than who we are in front of people. So the things that we do on our social media typically will mirror our personal life and the things that we really believe in our hearts and the way that we act. And so what we say on social media, the videos and the pictures we post, are they encouraging? Are they uplifting? Are they allowing a good light to be shown on us and show us that we are men and women of character? Or do we post things that are degrading? Do we post things that are of questionable moral ethics? Are we posting things that could get us in trouble down the road, whether with a university or a coach, or even with a boss looking to get a job down the road? Are they going to look back at years past, or even months or weeks and days, and see things that you post or liked or did on your social media? And does it make us questionable employees, questionable students, questionable teammates? And so I want us to be conscious of what we do now, knowing that there can be ramifications down the road, good and bad. Social media can be fantastic for encouraging, for pushing good causes, for breathing life on people, and for things that cannot drag us down the road. And so just want you guys to think about this as something that we use pretty much, if not every single day. How are we using our social media? Are we doing things, again, that can build us up and give us a great opportunity down the road? Or are we doing things and saying things now that can potentially set us up for failure down the road? So I want you guys to ponder this. Thanks again for watching. Take care.